Democrats are falling apart at the seams. In today's video, we have Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, whose house was firebombed by another Democrat. We have Gavin Newsom begging for money as California's Medicaid is going broke due to all the illegal immigrants on it. And finally, we have Whoopi Goldberg live on The View saying that we should get rid of the Department of Education. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel, but let's start by hearing from CNN about this insane firebombing that happened at the governor of Pennsylvania's house.
Cody Balmer is the name of the suspect who has been arrested. He actually had a friend of his, a female, call police to tell them he wanted to turn himself in. He turned himself in, he was given his Miranda rights, but he started to talk. Here's what we know. He said that he walked about a mile to get to the house, and that's when he threw he jumped the fence, threw the first incendiary device into a room. Police tell us that was the piano room. And then it took off. And then he went to the second window he saw and threw a second incendiary device in. That would be the dining room. It took off. He said it was Heineken beer bottles that he had put gasoline in. He jumped through the second window. He was actually in the mansion at that point and then finished his business and left. He was asked by police, did you believe that somebody was going to be asleep in the house at that time? He said, yeah, I knew that was a possibility.
Now, this is absolutely crazy news, just insane stuff. I'm relieved to know that the governor and his family are okay. And what's even more wild is the man accused of committing this arson is also a fellow Democrat. Now, I want to go on a rant here because clearly political violence is becoming more and more tolerated thanks to the left. It was already terrible that their divisive rhetoric inspired somebody to take a shot at President Trump. But now the left is becoming so deranged that they're turning on each other. This is why I have always had a problem with the woke Marxist ideology. I didn't despise it because it was weird and quirky. I despised it because it was divisive, it was dangerous, and it has led to the radicalization of an entire major American political party. Here's the problem with it. When the left made the woke ideology the prevailing cultural philosophy, what they did is they started a race to the bottom, where social hierarchy had been inverted. So those at the bottom, the disenfranchised, the marginalized, the victims, those were now the new honored and celebrated and privileged group. So in order to reach the height of this new hierarchy, people started competing to be the most victimized, the most oppressed, the most marginalized. It became a virtue signaling game of collecting sympathy tokens. He who had the most sympathy tokens was the king. And when you create a system where the people at the top don't exist there through hard work and meritocracy and innovation and creativity and risk-taking, instead they end up there by complaining, by criticizing, by being abnormal, by being hateful, by being resentful and bitter. You encourage these people to do more of the same stuff that landed them at the bottom of the totem pole in a normal society. So now people think it's cool to be trans. That's another sympathy token. It's cool to be obese. It's cool to be mentally ill. It's cool to be an oppressed, whiny person because that gets you the most social credit. And what's worse is because the social hierarchies had actually been inverted, these were now the same people with all the power and privilege and influence in society. But their entire existence was predicated around being the oppressed, the ones at the bottom. So they can call themselves oppressed, but if they're actually now the new oppressors, that would eliminate their sense of self-worth. So they have to keep telling themselves, no matter what, that they're still the victimized. And nothing can ever be enough. They can never be satisfied. They can never be happy. That's how you get the Sonny Hostins of the world living in $10 million houses talking about racism and misogyny and the black race's incapability of social mobility. So when you celebrate people who are delusional and mentally ill and sad and bitter and resentful, and you combine that with an unwillingness to accept that your circumstance can change and you'll never be satisfied, you can never win the battle you're setting out to achieve, these people then start becoming radicals. And when you combine that with a constant apocalyptic rhetoric that Donald Trump is an existential threat to their entire existence. You get deranged people who have been encouraged to behave this way, thinking that they are morally justified and obligated to engage in deadly political violence. And you see how they have to constantly attack Trump because they can't attack the message. Because even as crazy as the Democrats are, they understand that Donald Trump's broad message is extremely popular with the American people. So they can't attack cleaning up government, they can't attack closing the borders, they can't attack a strong and stable economy. They have to attack the methods and the man. It's like when the communists took over Russia, yes, there was a violent revolutionary aspect to it, but they also had a very clear plan of the system of government they were going to implement.